Hi, this is Brandon Smith, thirstgym.com. Today we're going to talk about exercise called the single leg kettlebell RDL switches. This is a great hinge variation for your athletes and your clientele, and it really works on hip stability, staying over the front leg if you happen to be a baseball player, which can be fantastic. But this is also going to work on the stability of the hip while also ingraining the hip hinge pattern. So you are going to probably want a kettlebell for this exercise. If you really are in a pinch and need to use the dumbbell, you by all means could, but the kettlebell is nice because of the handle design and the center of mass is further away from our hands. So I would also make sure that your athletes understand how to hinge properly, and in particular the single leg RDL. If they can master that, they can get this exercise down. So just make sure you're following your check sheet to make sure that they're ready for this exercise. Don't throw this on an athlete that is not ready for them. And this is not an exercise aimed at developing just strength. So I would say if you want stronger glutes and hamstrings, go with the single leg RDL, especially if you're looking for some bang for your buck. But if you're working with particular athletes that need hip stability, or you're trying to address some certain unbalances on one hip versus the other, this is a fantastic exercise you can use. It's also a great warm up or activation based exercise prior to a lower body based training session. So with the kettlebell and all that being said, I'm going to take the kettlebell here and we're going to perform the single leg RDL over the opposite leg. So if I'm going to be on my left leg, I'm going to have the kettlebell in my right hand, keep my chest good and tall, soft knee on the stance leg. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my back leg, I'm going to hinge backwards, hit my good quality single leg RDL. Then we're going to stay down there and we're going to pass the kettlebell back and forth between the hands, and back and forth is considered one rep. So we're going to be here, hinge down, hold this position, make sure you can keep good full contact, back's good flat and neutral, kettlebell is basically on the inside of the big toe, and we're going to bring it here and come back and forth. So really challenging the foot, the hip, adductors, glutes, hamstrings. We're just going to go back and forth. Just like that. Okay, so this is, like I said, not an exercise where you're going to crank the weight. This is a 8-kilo kettlebell, and as you can tell, that was challenging my balance on my left hip. The main thing you're going to want to denote with your athletes is which hip are they having hard times with, creating stability, and this exercise will help address that, but at the same time, keep the glutes and the hamstrings having to fire in that position. And that's the reason why I really like this exercise for baseball players specifically, is because as they pitch or as they throw and they come over that top leg, especially your pitchers, as they come over that top leg, we want to make sure they've got good quality hip strength to stabilize everything as they come down the mound, or if they're going to make a big throw, from center field or something. So this is definitely a great in-season option or a corrective-based exercise for a particular population if you happen to be one of those people. You could certainly use it if you're a strength athlete as well, as part of your active warm-up prior to squatting and deadlifting. So it's got a lot of good applications as well. So usually if you're going to put this in your training program, honestly probably 2 or 3 sets for about 10 to 12 passes. So again, a pass is 1 and back. So we got to start with the right hand or the left hand and come back to that for that to be considered 1 rep. And then if you're going to use this as a activation or warm-up based drill, honestly, probably 1, maybe 2 sets of about 6 to 8 passes is probably all you're really going to need to really start to feel it. You can certainly do more if you wanted to, but again, we're just using it as a warm-up exercise, so we're not really worried about getting a ton of work in, where with our main training session, we might be. So that is the single leg kettlebell switch in the RDL position. So if you happen to have any questions about the exercise, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. Thanks. Have a great day.